LinkedIn is pretty great at a lot of things, like helping you tap into the latest trends and insights in your field. We cannot stop your coworker from tapping her pencil. LinkedIn can help you find new jobs that align with your career goals. We cannot help you find the source of that weird smell in the office fridge. Ew. And while we can't stop your coworkers from bringing their hobbies into the office, LinkedIn can help you bring your career to the next level. LinkedIn is the network that works for you.
What's up, y'all? We want to welcome you back to another episode of the HuntStand podcast, and specifically Field Note Fridays, presented by Worksharp Tools, a knife sharpening company. Today, our Strut Report is going to be brought to you by Mr. Josh Dahlke himself. He's been hunting all over the country this turkey season, but specifically, we're going to be talking Wisconsin and Minnesota, and primarily because Wisconsin season has kicked into gear. Minnesota's been going for a little while, but Josh has been hunting every day, 4 a.m. to pitch black darkness. And so, Josh, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks, man. We're just out here grinding. We've been doing Minnesota now for about a month, and Wisconsin has also been going for about the same amount of time. It's just that I'm a non-resident for Wisconsin, and it's very difficult to draw a tag that early in the season. So the way their season structure is broken down, it's A, B, C, D, E, F. And as a non-resident, you can start to get tags primarily like in the D season, so the fourth season. But then after that, if you play your cards right, you can hunt the rest of the entire month of May into June 1st by just getting some leftover tags. So I've got tags in my pocket to allow me to hunt Wisconsin for the rest of the month up until I have to say goodbye to turkey season June 1st, reluctantly.
You got just a little bit more time, man. So tell us, specifically you've been hunting Minnesota a lot lately, and with you just starting Wisconsin, kind of give us the rundown on what these birds have been doing, man.
Yeah, it's been very interesting day to day. First thing I'd say is when it comes to nesting hens, I don't know what percentage of hens are nesting right now, but it's got to be a significant number. I would say I'd go as far as even to say the majority, at least where I've been hunting, which is from the central part of Wisconsin and Minnesota down. Now, the northern birds, some of those hens are probably still not quite nesting. So I'd say as you go north, just because of the weather, there's probably some more receptive hens up there. But we're in the shift right now where it seems like most of the gobblers where I've been hunting in Minnesota and Wisconsin are just starting their search mode. They're just starting to realize that a lot of the hens, the solo hens, are already doing their own thing. They're not interested, and so they're not receptive. And so what I've been seeing is a number of gobblers that have been trying to court hens that want nothing to do with them because they're already working on nesting. And one of the easiest ways to see that, based on my experience, no matter where I've hunted, but for some reason it's very apparent here in the Midwest. You can tell when the hens start nesting when they start showing up in weird spots, like places where you'd never normally see them. Yeah. So here, most of the turkeys live in contiguous woodlots, but this time of year, you'll start to see them out in islands that are not connected to other parcels of forest. You'll start seeing them in ditches, in just brushy spots, and they're trying to hide their eggs. They're trying to hide their nests. They don't want predators to find it. They try not to visit it too often because they don't want crows watching them and that type of thing. So when you start to see the hens go to those weird places, that's when you know that they're starting to nest. But yeah, what you'll also see is the gobblers, they haven't fully caught on yet. So they see a hen like that and they'll spend a decent amount of time with her before they realize that, oh, okay, she's not having it. And then they'll finally, they'll break off. But because of that, it's a unique time to find gobblers also in weird places. Like, for instance, this bird that we hunt, we call him Houdini. Now, when I say him, we actually killed the original Houdini last year in this weird island of trees out in the middle of no man's land because he was doing just that. He was hanging out with this hen that wasn't receptive, and he just couldn't get the point. So he hung out with her for too many days, to the point where we were able to pattern him, and I was able to go in there and kill him. And it turns out that apparently his blueprint has been passed on, because yesterday my brother scouted that same spot. There was a solo hen out there with generation 2 of Houdini. My brother actually tried hunting them this morning, and we call him Houdini because they had a really difficult time getting on him last year. One of my friends actually took a shot at him and missed, and they tried hunting him multiple times for 3 days, and they just could not connect with him. He would just disappear. And sure enough, my brother goes in there this morning. You'd think it'd be a sure thing, hunting a bird on an island of trees like that out in the middle of a field.
Yeah.
He never heard him drum. He never heard him gobble. He never heard him fly down, and he never saw him. So we have no idea where he went. We think he probably pressed the button and took the elevator down to the tunnel system.
Well, damn. Damn. So tell us about, you just killed a bird. You know, you were telling me about how you just kind of like to go out at least once a year with no camera, not worrying about trying to film or anything. You do that hunt for you. And so it sounds like it was a heck of a hunt, man. So kind of run me through that. Like what happened? What was that bird doing? How'd you call him in? What was your calling like? Decoys, no decoys? Give me the 411 on it, man.
Yeah, it was a great hunt. I covet my Minnesota tag because we only get one here in Minnesota, and so I like to be selective about where and when and how I hunt with that tag. Originally, I was intending to go to my family's farm, which is a special place for me to go do anything, and especially try to kill a turkey. But I changed my plans and decided to hunt closer to home and film my tag elsewhere, because I've got some company coming in from Georgia. A couple of guys want to kill their Minnesota birds next week. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to bring them to my family farm and hopefully roll out the red carpet. So
sweet. I
decided to grab my tag a little bit earlier and see if I could get it done before those guys show up. And I was sitting waiting for roost time on Sunday because I was going to go try to put some birds to bed, and I was just having a beer at the local watering hole in my area where I turkey hunt closer to home. And there was a farmer in there, and we started small talking. And next thing you know, I had permission on probably about 300-400 acres of new property that I had never seen or hunted, all just because we struck up a conversation over a beer.
Dang.
So yeah, and that's how I've gotten a lot of my permission. Just people, you just got to talk to people. I'd say at least up in this neck of the woods, I've got an 80% or better success rate at getting permission by talking to people and knocking on doors and using HuntStand. You know, look at the property info, roll up to someone's door, address them by their first name. Hey, is Bill here? Is Susan here? Whatever it is. And that automatically just is kind of an icebreaker. And that's one of the great things about using HuntStand to acquire new properties like that is for the power of door knocking. But in this case, it was just a matter of, I happened to run into this guy at the bar. And so the next morning I went out there and met up with him. He was doing some field work planting corn. He took me for one little quick circle on his Kubota. We saw a gigantic longbeard with a hen out in this cut corn field from last year. And I'm like, okay, well, there are a few turkeys here. It's a bluff property that overlooks a river, and it's on a very steep bank, and then there's fields up top. So it's a pretty classic bluff country river bottom scenario with agriculture on top and water and hardwoods going down to the river. So long story short, I had a tough time at a different spot I was hunting. I was in birds, but I couldn't get the right bird to come into range. I called in 9 different jakes, and I couldn't get a longbeard to do it for me. So even though I was already invested in that spot, I figured on a whim I would just roll into the new property where I got permission. That'd be, well, what was that? 2 nights ago. So I rolled in there with the intention of roosting birds, but of course I brought my gun with. So I went in there light. I actually didn't bring a decoy. I didn't really bring anything other than just my shotgun and my vest with nothing in it other than just a couple pot calls and a mouth call. And I was just going to go in there and mainly just listen. But when I got out of my truck, there was already one gobbling. And so I measured it on HuntStand. This turkey was actually 950 yards away, and I could hear him gobbling.
Dadgum.
It was crazy. And it's because I was downwind of him. And that's one piece of advice that I like to share with people is that when you're going to go out on even just a breezy day and you're going to go hit a block of timber or whatever it is that you're running and gunning on, if you can choose, I always like to approach from the downwind side because the sound is going to carry to you. You're going to hear them gobbling. And because they have so much better hearing than us, they're still going to hear your calls through the wind. So you got the advantage on it.
Yeah.
So I didn't plan it this way. It just happened to be where I parked, and I got out of my truck and the wind was blowing at me and I heard them gobbling. So just a lucky deal. And I moved in on them. I looked at 3D and HuntStand to see what the terrain was going to roll out like ahead of me so I could sneak around and do a J hook to get in line with him. I knew he was out in this cut cornfield back in a corner. And so I used the terrain. I slipped in there, got on a little bench in the woods 100 yards off of where I thought he was gobbling on the field, carved myself out a nice little spot, cut down some brush that was in my way, just took my time because he was just hammering the whole time. I never even made a call when I went to him. He was just gobbling by himself. He was hot to trot. I don't think there were a lot of hens around, so he was just gobbling, trying to pick up a hen, and I just lucked out. So I set up my spot, and I knew in a situation like that, it's probably going to be hot and heavy. So I made sure I was good and settled and ready, and I put my gun up on my knee, and I let out a yelping and cutting sequence that I usually do to try to strike a bird right out of the gate. He cut me off. He double gobbled. I called at him again. He cut me off. I called at him again. He cut me off. And then I went silent. And actually another turkey, I never identified what it was, popped up on the side of the ridge next to me in the woods and looked at me. And it must have pegged me because it went walking away. And so when it did that, I started calling again just in case it was spooking or looking sketchy. I didn't want the gobbler to be tipped off. So I started calling again, and he kept hammering at me when I would call. And then after I did some pretty aggressive calling, I went silent again. And he also went silent. The last thing I heard was him spit drumming out in the field. And then there was probably about a 5-minute window of just the showdown, dead silence, me with my gun on my shoulder, on my knee, because the way I was sitting with the elevation, I knew he was gonna pop up. He was gonna take a look, and if he didn't see something to confirm what he was hearing, he was gonna bail. So he came up over the top. He looked around. He craned his neck around, looking around the trees to see where the hen was. He realized there wasn't a hen, and then he started to do the nervous walk back and forth, and that was all I needed to get him to step behind a tree so I could make my final move. And I shot him at 30 yards in the timber, and it was just a gorgeous long beard with a 11-inch paintbrush that was one of the thickest beards of any turkey, and also an eastern turkey that I've ever killed. It was just a tank of a beard. He had thick spurs, so they didn't look that long, but they are actually an inch. They look like they're more like 3/4, but it's just because they're so thick, it's deceiving. But they measure an inch, so he was a hell of a bird. And I spent the next hour there just sitting with him in the woods, enjoying the breeze and just sitting there reflecting on the hunt and the turkey season. And also the selfish side of me, I stayed there because I wanted to learn the property a little more and listen to what else was gobbling. So maybe I could bring a buddy in there this season and try to get somebody else on one.
Heck yeah, man. That sounds like one heck of a hunt. So kudos to you on that. So, man, one of the other questions I have for you is, you had this bird that just Sounds like you just struck gold with him, right? Like he was just hammering. You didn't have to do much until you were in place. But you've also kind of gone through some trials and tribulations lately. Like there's been some mornings and afternoons where it's just been atrocious, right? Like no gobbles, nothing. And so what is your advice for that guy that's kind of going through that right now?
Well, I'll give a little bit of backstory to my plight. So I was riding on cloud nine 2 nights ago when I shot that great bird, and then I got real excited because my Wisconsin season opened this morning. So my original plan was to go to a hunting lease that I have primarily for whitetails, but we can hunt turkeys on there as well in Wisconsin. And I was going to go there with my lease partner, Alex Robinson from Outdoor Life, and we went there yesterday evening with this grand scheme to roost some birds and get in there in the morning and have a great hunt. And as part of this lease deal, we have exclusive hunting rights to everything on there, but there's some old guys who hunt it who are in their 60s and 70s, and we knew that they've been turkey hunting there for a while. I mean, they don't pay anything. We pay a decent chunk of change because we hunt a lot of stuff on this property throughout the year, and it's worth it to us to have it, especially for whitetails. But when we heard that these old dudes had been hunting there forever, I wouldn't want to be plucked out of a spot like that if I had a tradition. So we decided that regardless of whether they're paying or not, we're going to let them turkey hunt and stay out of their way. We get plenty of other opportunities elsewhere, and these guys probably only go once a year. So all we wanted to do was coordinate to make sure that we weren't going to be there at the same time. Well, we tried coordinating through the farmer who owns the land. He's the one who talks to those guys, and we asked them about 3 different times during the last month, hey, have you heard from those guys? What season do they have? And so he had not heard from them. So I assumed that maybe they just weren't going to show up. And so when we went to go roost last night, we discovered from the farmer that the guys showed up 2 days prior, put out 3 ground blinds, and they were going to be there this morning to hunt the same season that we have. So we abandoned mission, and I wasted my evening, my whole evening. I was not able to get out and scout and roost any birds for the morning. So I ended up going into a property blind this morning, one that I've never been in, that I got permission on 2 months ago. I had a good gut feeling about it. There was a good wintering flock there. So I knew that when they dispersed, there's going to be still a bunch of birds around. And I got in there this morning, and it was interesting. I slipped in, and actually one of the neighbors down the road, we're talking, it's 4 a.m, and I see a vehicle at my truck, and I figured another hunter was going to roll in on me. So I watched from the forest to see what they were doing down there, looking through my binocular, and I get a phone call, and it's the sheriff. He's like, hey, did you just pull in someone's driveway? And I'm like, no, I just turned around in the road and parked. He's like, what are you, turkey hunting? I'm like, yeah, I'm just turkey hunting. He's like, oh, okay. One of the neighbors called me because someone just pulled into their driveway. And I'm like, okay, whatever. It's kind of weird to get the sheriff coming at you at 4 a.m. when you're trying to turkey hunt.
Yeah.
So it was the last thing I expected, but I was relieved that it wasn't another hunter slipping in on the same parcel, because then I would have really been in a pickle. But I got in there and sat down on the fringe because I didn't want to go too deep without any roosted birds and bust anything. And there were gobblers in there, but they were all on the neighbors. They went the wrong way. And I believe someone shot one with a 20 gauge shortly after fly down. So I was out of luck for that place. I tried ripping a circle around it and doing some calling, but getting to the moral of the story and the question you asked me about it being tough right now, we have had a very, very slow spring. The green up is late. The weather's been bad. Temperatures have been pretty cold. Everything is a little bit behind. And right now, on top of that, we're just in this like nasty, gray, windy, like it wants to rain, but it's not raining. It's humid. It's just bad weather for turkeys to be really doing it and gobbling. So this morning after fly down, as soon as they hit the ground, I never heard another turkey gobble. 4 hours. I mean, I went to multiple spots. I saw 2 gobblers out in one field in an area where the ground that I covered, normally I would see at least a dozen. And all I saw was 1 pair of gobblers, and one of them was half strutting, not even fully strutting. And I never heard a gobble the rest of the day. And my brother's experience was pretty similar. He was hunting in the area, and they're just kind of shut down and lethargic right now. So, what I can say and offer for advice is, number one, as always, grind, just grind and grind and grind, and keep driving around, keep looking for birds, keep jumping into wood lots and ripping calls. Do all the things that you normally do, but just do it at a faster pace, because your odds of stumbling into one that wants to play is a lot less right now. But there is a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, because as soon as this weather front breaks, I will bet you my savings account that the birds are going to be out in force. So I'm just hoping that happens within the next couple of days, and this weird weather doesn't hang on too much. But if it does hang on, then a guy's best hope is to either find a bird that's exposed in the open and try to get ahead of them, and maybe not go too hard on the calling if he's not feeling it. Or, of course, really, really try to power roost and get some birds put to bed, pin them, and do your best to use the terrain and look at your mapping and HuntStand to try to figure out where they're going to go if you don't already know, and just get ahead of them. Because rolling into a midday bird right now and getting one to come running in and commit suicide at this time with this weather, they're just not doing it. I mean, they're just feeding, loafing, hanging out. I don't even think a lot of them are trying to breed hens. They're just being nasty jerks right now. So
they're just big chilling.
Yeah, they're just like they're just not doing anything. It's sad watching them when they're like this. It's tormenting. But all you got to do is just stay with it. And I was up at 2:30 a.m. yesterday and 3 a.m. today, and actually I've been up at 3 a.m. or earlier since Sunday, and it's starting to hurt a little bit, but you just got to get out there. These days are numbered, man. Spring doesn't last long enough, so you just got to stick it out and deal with the pain.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Well, I love it. Well, there you have it, everybody. Josh brought y'all the Strut Report for Wisconsin, Minnesota. Hopefully y'all are able to take some of his advice and learn from the things he's done. And for all you Minnesotans and Wisconsiners, hopefully y'all can bag yourself a big tom here pretty soon. So, man, Josh, thanks again for hopping on another Field Note Fridays episode.
You betcha. I'm about to finish my work up here so I can get out and try to get after him tonight. Put one to bed.
Go kill him dead.